Take my hand, take my little hand, walk with me, and if you can, understand, I didn't plan for this road I'm on, but here I stand.
Hello, you're listening to the Sweet Baby O podcast, and I'm Lynn Browder, and I have a son, Owen, who has autism. I share our journey through autism. I share our challenges, his progress, his accomplishments, our teamwork, our successes, our things that we have to work on, and the things that are emotional to me, emotional to him, emotional for both of us. This journey changes minute by minute sometimes, but I'm learning, he's learning, and we're growing together. A lot of the things that helped us kind of earlier on, we're learning how to tell when Owen needed sensory input. It seems like that's kind of like coming back where he really needs it again. He went through some spurts where he could kind of do a little more self-regulation and didn't want as much kind of contact input. And for me, that contact is like with him being in like the different sensory bins that we'd have. He kind of changed for a while, and he wanted more of where he would be like enclosed under blankets or in a swing or in a tent, that type of thing, where he was kind of getting more of the shadings, the darkness, the lights, and that was kind of how he wanted more input. So we've kind of come full circle, and he's requesting or wanting to kind of be like, I can tell when he wants like the different types of input, because he's now coming up to me and he will push his head right into my head, or he'll take his elbows and put them into my stomach, and he kind of pushes his whole body into me. And so he's kind of trying to get those muscles and that input, that like, pressure back towards him. And so we started doing joint compressions again, and I've worked with getting him back into some of his sensory tubs, and they've always kind of been available for him. It's just a matter of him wanting to do more of like the swinging, or like I said, like in the tents and things like that. So now he's back into wanting the tubs, and for a long time I put him in like the ball pit type thing, and then I changed to pool noodles, and I'd cut them up in different lengths, like anywhere from a couple inches all the way to like 6 inches. And then he gets into a tub, and then he has the pool noodles, and he just kind of will sit in there, and that kind of relaxes him, and he uses his muscles to put them in and put them out, and that kind of gives him that input that he's seeking. We've used things like beans and rice over the years, and he really likes the beans, but that's one of those things that is extremely messy. I've put big tablecloths or like tarps down before, because no matter how small the tub is, because a lot of times with the beans, I've just done like his hands or his feet, they still go everywhere, and he likes to get in the tub. I have given it to him where he's in a huge tub full of beans, But I think about that and I kind of laugh, because I can't tell you how many times it seems like weeks later I would find beans behind the couch or behind the TV or something. So those are not exactly the easier of some of the sensory bins we've had over the years. But he probably likes those the most. The pool noodles, though, tend to really help him a lot, and he can easily throw them out and pull them back in, and he gets in and out of the tubs a lot, and that is where he kind of seeks that pressure from being in that small confined area. One of the other things that we've gone through a lot are different textures of floor mats. They have lots of different types where you can they're like puzzles almost, and you can put them together. And there's many different textures with those. I've also used like the different types of welcome mats. Some are kind of like that woven. Some are more of like a fabric. And those are a great input for him, because sometimes, depending on the texture of them, he'll actually lay down on them, and I'll put like some that are a little more coarse. I'll do several of those together, and then I'll do kind of like a relief one where it's more of a fabric, where it's lighter, and he just will kind of stand on it, and he moves his toes a lot, which is also kind of a good input for him, and allows kind of for some of those fine motor skills, even in his like feet and his hands, because he'll put his hands down on the different mats as well. So it's just kind of finding common objects that will allow for him to have some of that input. When he was little, I made him a book of textures. And it was just kind of it had different kinds of felts and velvets and things like that. And he would take his hands and kind of run through the different fabrics, and it just kind of brought comfort to him when, especially like in high stress situations. And over the years, I've kind of changed different materials for him, and some help a little bit more than others. But it has kind of given him a way to like relax in some of the stressful situations. He would always chew through his t-shirts when he would be like needing some of that input and that sensory release. And so I can't tell you how many times within a day, he would completely chew through a t-shirt. And so he's kind of almost starting that process over again. He's started chewing a couple of his shirts, like he'll put that in there. But I've been able to kind of remind him that we have other things that he can chew on. And we also work on breathing techniques to kind of relax him and try to make him redirect some of those emotions because the chewing for him is kind of a mix between needing sensory input, and also with him, it's a way to control his emotions, because he chews when he's mad about something, and he chews when he is extremely happy about something. He also screams when he's extremely happy about something, and also screams when he's extremely mad about something. But the chewing right now is where he will grab his finger, and he puts that in his mouth and he clamps down on it. So I'm kind of trying to find ways to redirect that energy and have him focus on something else besides that chewing. And that's where we go a lot of times is trying to redirect the emotion or what's causing him to have meltdowns, or the behaviors where he can't kind of move through something. Right now, there's a couple of things. Blue pants, the world in blue pants. He wants the world in blue pants. That is the top thing for him right now. But he's also back to remembering every single thing that is ever broken in his entire world. And he's especially focused on the things that are recent, but he is also remembering things that have happened years before that broke. And it's all kinds of different things. Like he remembers that his glasses broke, and he remembers that there was a ball that broke, and he remembers that there was a chair that broke, and he remembers that his bed is broke, and the door and the swing. And it's not just a matter of him sharing that with me one time. He will run to the trash. He will look in the trash, and he will then say, "Ball broke." And then he said, "Pop a ball, pop a ball." And I have told him that we couldn't put it back together. This was kind of a big bouncy ball, and he sat on it as it, you know, that's what it was made to do, to bounce on the ball, but it broke. And so there was no hope in fixing this. It was in about 6 pieces, and it was shredded. So we had to throw the ball away, and I haven't been able to find exactly the same ball, which it broke. That upset him. And then not being able to have the same ball, that upsets him. So it is something that he will say to me 5 or 6 times a day, if not 105 times a day. It just depends on what else we can distract him with, what else he wants to focus on. But he clearly wants to kind of go through those. And part of it's trying to find ways that, you know, for him to communicate with me. So he's kind of learning how to talk and show his emotions and show what he's learned. But part of it is he can't get past something. And that ball breaking is something that he can't get past right now. Blue pants is something that he can't get past right now. And so I think in some ways, the sensory input that he is needing and requesting have to do also with trying to redirect some of his emotions and some of the things that he's connecting to with chewing on his finger and chewing his shirt, and just being able to say and repeat those same things over and over again. As the mama, a lot of these are hard because I don't always know when to respond to a behavior, or to try to redirect a behavior, or try to ignore a behavior, because when I'm in that moment, I am answering when my son says something to me, and you don't think about the consequences. You don't think about the spiral effect of you answering something 20 times, because you know, that's the art of communication. That's the art of being able to have conversation, is when your son, when someone you're talking to says something that's directed at you, in general, you respond to them. And so you get in a habit that you don't necessarily know how to stop or break or change, or if it's wrong. And so he will say, "The ball has broke," and I then reply, "Yes, it has," or whatever comes to mind at that particular moment. Now, the problem is, if I do not respond the way that he wants me to or he needs me to, then that becomes a spiral, and it can possibly go into a meltdown if I then don't answer the next steps correctly. I don't always remember what I'm supposed to say. I don't always remember how I'm supposed to answer every one of these questions. Now, I can remember some of the ones that are from years ago because he's, said them so many times. But a lot of times it's still that moment in time. Like, I don't always remember because it's not something he's brought up in 2 years. And that literally is sometimes the time frame. He says to me, ABC. And depending on how he says it, the inflection he says it, and the look he gives me, I'm supposed to respond, you go to YouTube. That's how I'm supposed to respond. And he expects me to know that that's how I'm supposed to respond to that moment. The problem is, I don't necessarily know that I should respond, you have to go to YouTube every time, because we have to break a cycle at some time so he can move forward. But I also want to prevent meltdowns, prevent hours upon hours of him cycling through these things to still get me to say the exact same thing. I wasn't born with that manual that says stop talking or more talking or less talking or, change the subject or redirect this. And so here I am just trying to kind of figure it out. And you truly are in the moment and you don't know always how to respond. And right now we're going through a really rough patch with these blue pants. And I want to say it's going on a year now that he wants the entire world literally to be in blue pants. And I go through and try to not wear blue pants, and I try to have him not wear blue pants. And some days that works great. And some days that doesn't work at all. And then add in the fact that weather plays a huge role into our daily life. That is also hard on him. It rained on Sunday, and we came in from church, and this has happened numerous times in the last 6 months, even before, but I got wet because it was raining, even though I had an umbrella. It still got on my jeans. And as soon as we walked in the door, before we walked in the door, he was already distraught over the fact that my pants got rained on. So I was able to get him inside the house, and the meltdown continued and continued. He ran to the bathroom, got a towel, trying to wipe my pants dry. And it just spirals because he can't process all of those steps. I no longer have regular blue pants. I have wet blue pants, and that doesn't fit his picture that he needs to see me in these particular blue pants and how they look. You have, behavioral specialists and physical therapists and our occupational therapists and speech therapists and teachers. And, I have support and we have his doctors and we have other therapists all working with us to try to get me to respond correctly, me to help him, in through all of these emotions and through every little bit that is got both of us kind of, entangled in these moments, and they're all helping him. And we go to a specialist in September, and I'm kind of hanging on to that because that's going to help us through several parts of this. He's right now sleeping mostly better, but that's such a big part of this journey is sleeping through the night for both of us. Because the more sleep I can get, the more that I can kind of focus on how to respond to some of these different cues that I need to respond to and what's happening. He is going through another cycle. I sometimes can't even believe we're through this cycle again. It's kind of like the circular motion of when he's gonna, go through and stop on lights out, lights out, lights out. We are now in that little spoke of lights out. It's kind of like when you play like a game and you spin the wheel, what particular thing we're going to land on. And right now we're back on no lights. This is hard. This is hard because this is one of those things that before it hasn't lasted very long, like, a few months, and we go back to where he, doesn't care about the lights. Well, do I make it so he can't turn any lights on and off with certain types of covers for the light switch? Do I just not worry about all the lights being off and I carry a flashlight? There's so many parts in one day, and it's not even just the whole day or part of a day, or it can be in 30 seconds. He flies from one moment to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And I'm still trying to figure out how to get the light on so I can pour a cup of coffee. And he's moved on to the fact that I need to say the right words so that he can process it and move on. And I'm trying to figure out even where I am, and I need a cup of coffee. And that's 2 minutes of his day and how he has to kind of process all of these things. I breathe. And I try to figure out ways to kind of help him through it, let him learn kind of control in his environment. But it's hard because he hasn't really wanted to go anywhere in the last months, year, 2 years. And now he's starting to want to go ride the elevators again. And that's great, but I can't get us in a routine where all he wants to do is go ride the elevators, go get chicken nuggets, come home, and then the next day do the same thing. We've got to kind of establish a routine, but leave it loose enough that when we can't go do something, it doesn't cause him to regress or, go back to where he won't do anything. And that's the fine line that I'm always battling with all of these things. And there's so many moving parts that I feel like I'm always juggling 20 balls up in the air, plus an elephant, plus pizza and a shake and everything else in between, because I'm stuck on one thing and he's 10 steps ahead of me, but he wants me still to be able to answer or get him everything that he needs in between all of those steps. I know that he is really struggling through summer because he's not in that rules and those routines that he needs to be in. School helps him tremendously to keep in that focus, keep in that routine. He loves his teacher. He loves all of those aspects of routine. And here we are still several weeks away before he gets to go back to school. I've been telling him since he got out of school that he would be back in school in August. And so I've been trying to prepare him for those moments in that time. And this morning when we woke up, I said to him, "It's August." Breathing again. He screamed and he screamed and he screamed, "No, no, no." He couldn't process it because he asks every day about his teacher. When is he going to see his teacher again? When is he going to see his teacher again? And now that it's August, he's having a hard time with that because he just still doesn't understand the process of time. Like he understood it was July and he understands it's August, but it's still 3 weeks almost, a little over 3 weeks till he gets to go back to school. And so how to make him understand time, how to make him understand that not everything is going to go according to any plan, routine, and rules. And what do I do to help me get through the process, to help him get through the process? It's so many different moving parts, and all I can do is just continue to learn, continue to find ways to redirect, continue to help him kind of focus his own emotions. And every day I just tell him that he can set his mind to anything and accomplish it. He's amazing and he can do it. I remind him that we are a team and that we have to put forth the effort together to kind of work through that and find ways to just keep moving forward and keep making progress. That's one of the things that just keeps on my mind is I still see the progress. Even though I feel like sometimes we're in those circles and we're in those loops, we are still making progress. He is still making amazing progress. And that's what I have to focus on. The joy, the laughter, the songs he sings, the languages he knows, all of those add up to progress. The smile that he gives me, and even those loud screams at that laughter for making me jump, those are progress moments because he's learning and he's growing. And that's what matters. So as the day wore on, this mama is exhausted, but I kept hearing that smile, that just rigid, wonderful smile from him through all of the moments in time. And that's what gets me through these days. I don't have all the answers. I don't have all of the ways to do everything. But our journey isn't always easy to explain, but the love sure is. Autism is as much about how I handle it as it is about Owen having it. And so today is one day in time, and we'll just continue to move forward. I thank you for being on this journey with us. And at the beginning of the show, and you'll hear the rest of the song now, you're hearing Down This Road, and it was written and performed by Marcus Oglesby, and he is with the band Creek Don't Rise. So please enjoy Down This Road. Thanks for listening.
Life ain't always what we thought it would be. Sometimes heavy is the load. I won't give up on you. Don't give up on me. Take my hand down this road. Take my hand understand. I understand. You don't understand the way I am. When you cry and I don't know why, I'll make you smile when you cry. Where this road will lead, nobody knows. Just come with me and let's see just how far it goes. Take my hand, take my little hand, walk with me, and if you can, understand, I didn't plan for this road I'm on, but here I stand. And life ain't always what we thought it would be. Sometimes heavy is the load. I won't give up on you. Don't give up on me. Take my hand down this road. Take my hand down this road. Take my hand.